Hi, welcome back to the Spirit's Path. This is Dee, and today's tarot card of the day out of the Wildwood Tarot deck is the Knight of Bows and the Fox. And when I'm thinking about this card today, I was like, you have to be really sly to be able to be a fox. All right, and this knight has got a lot of passion, has got a lot of creativity, which I'm going to show you here a little bit, and how this card relates today. But they're very alert, okay? They're very curious, and they have the playfulness to it. And, the knights are fighters, tacticians, and, that's also beginning of a quest. Now, you do have the two aces down here as well, the Ace of Arrows, the Breath of Life. That's that new beginning, okay? So here you've got a new beginning to begin a quest, not only in the thought process, but also in the creativity and the passion, okay? The fox is very alert, curious. Like I said, if this is a person, like I like to explain the court cards, if this is a person, this is somebody that's going to be impulsive. They're going to be dynamic, flamboyant, okay? They're not going to be afraid to take action. This knight would rather, even though he's a fighter tactician, I think they would rather fight for what's going on instead of negotiate. Okay, because they want to be in there in the action. You could be in there in the action and try to, negotiate, whatever it is you want to negotiate. But, they're not afraid to get in there, either to talk or to fight. Okay, and they're going to be competitive, and they'd like to show off their skills and communication and passion and their fighting prowess, right? If this is an aspect of, you or somebody else, it's going to be somebody who's very innovative, all right, an improviser. And, some of this video I'm going to show you about it's being witty as a fox. So I just happened to step outside and, outside my door, and there were like 4 or 5 deer, and then it turned into like 7 deer. All right. So, just like the deer, they're very curious as to what you are. And I tried to, watch my steps. All right. So I tried to take on that Knight of Bows, that fox aspect of just being curious with them, being clever, to not move too quickly, all right? It's kind of the opposite of being that impulsive, but I was impulsive when I first saw it because I just started taking the video, right? If this is an event, it's going to be something, where travel is going to be there, all right? You might, go international travel or, out to the Europe or whatever, all right? And it's an opportunity to change things. Okay, and we've had a lot of change, within the cards here the last 6, 7, days. But, at the same time, that change is happening within you and without around you. All right. So the two questions that this Knight of Bows asks is, where do you need to be slower? And as you can see in my movements, as I'm, filming these deer, I'm not a threat to them. I'm taking things slow, right? I'm moving up on them, slowly but surely. And they trust me, all right? So just like, when you're out there, you have to be clever, okay? You have to be clever in those relationships. You have to be alert and listening to the cues of what people, say to you, okay? And use that wisdom. But at the same time, if somebody's not, forward with their comments, you might have to get a little curious. You have to ask some questions around some things, all right? And, within a relationship, what details are you missing? That's the other question that this fox asks. What details are you missing? I know when I was out there filming these deer, I was looking for an idyllic spot to where I could film this, not expecting the deer to be right outside my back door. So, the details that I was missing is, how, in my head, I'm already thinking, how am I going to get this message across with these deer? I just need to be slow. All right. I got to show them that they trust me. All right. And you can see what's going on out there. They're skittish, but yet they're trustful. Right. And there's a lot of animal life out back. And, with this, okay, the Ace of Arrows, the Breath of Life, is down here twice. Okay, and with that card being down here twice, you have to think around the logic and the reasoning, okay, to create that puff of smoke to go up, all right? You have to breathe life into that project, which was just going outside the door and seeing this, right? And that transition, when you can transition from that busy, chaotic, industrial world, you know, getting home from that, you know, that long drive, you know, at the end of the day, or going to work at the beginning of the day. If you can kick back and just look at nature that's around you, you can appreciate the alertness and the curiosity and the wisdom and the playfulness of all the animals. Squirrels, raccoons, chipmunks, deer, you know. That fox likes to come out, you know, during the early morning, or, you know, sometimes, you know, during the evening. And he'll be out back doing the same thing. You know, I was hoping to catch him today, but, you know, he's out and about, all right? He's laying low until it's time to come out. And, you know, that could be just like a person that's in that relationship, just waiting for you to, you know, ask them, you know, whatever question it is, you know, waiting for you to take action, you know, to just meet them, right? They're not going to make that first step, all right? But in order, you know, with that impulsiveness that you have that thought, you need to think things through clearly with that Ace of Arrows and that Breath of Life. If there's a new relationship you want to start, think it out, all right? How do you want to approach that person, okay? Do you want to do so impulsively or slowly, right? It's that tactician fighter aspect, okay? The Justice card that's down here, the Stag, right? Here's another opportunity to think things through. The Six of Arrows, you transition. We just talked about that, transitioning from that chaotic world into a world where it's, you know, meditative and watching, you know, what's going on around you. You know, those deer that are out back, they've endured all season. They've built up their stamina. They know, you know, that fall and winter is coming. So, you know, they're trying to, you know, eat as much as they can. And the challenge, you know, especially here in town, is trying to find the right food sources. So we got a lot of people on the street and in this neighborhood that, you know, take it upon themselves to give them some resources. And hopefully they have enough for the winter, you know, to continue on. And it's the same thing with all the animals. Again, you have to, you know, take on that alertness and that curiosity and just watch them. You know, the deer, you know, to me, they're kind of flamboyant as well. You know, the way they jump and they take off. And, you know, as soon as I left from down in the back of the yard to come back up, they started coming back up to the hill. All right? They started coming back up to the road. See, they're not afraid to take action. They'll survey the scene and everything like that and wonder what's going on, but they'll also show off. You know, they've got a little fox in them, as that little one was running around. So that's today's card of the day. A little bit more of a nature break than anything else, but enjoy the video. You know, and just, you know, try to apply the calmness and the serenity of what these deer represent, you know, in the backyard. You know, again, today's card is the Knight of Bows Fox. It could easily have been, you know, the Four Stones of protection with that one just laying down there. They're protected. They know what's going on. They're sly, they're clever, they're curious as to what you're doing. And that's kind of like the whole aspect of this card, right? And that's, you know, what came out from the Wildwood Tarot. The Knight of Bows, the Fox. So hit that like button for me, subscribe to the channel, share it with others, give me a thumbs up. And this is D for A Spirit's Path. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Take care. God bless. Stay safe, everybody.